Hey, India and the US have struck a major trade deal where India commits to stopping Russian oil purchases and investing $500 billion in American sectors like energy and agriculture. This shift, announced after a call between President Trump and PM Modi, reduces US tariffs on India to 18% while opening US exports to India tariff-free. It marks a geopolitical pivot amid global energy tensions, while wars reshaping alliances. Imagine a world where one phone call between two leaders flips the global oil map, hits Russia's wallet hard, and supercharges the world's biggest democracies. That's exactly what's happening right now with the blockbuster India-US trade deal. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt dropped the bomb. India is done buying Russian oil, shifting to US crude and maybe even Venezuela's to seal this pact. President Trump and PM Modi, calling each other dear friends, didn't just talk trade. They rewrote energy rules that could starve Moscow's war machine and flood American markets with Indian cash. Buckle up, this isn't just business, it's a geopolitical earthquake. India's Russian oil addiction. Since Russia's 2022 invasion of Ukraine, India exploded as Moscow's top oil buyer, snapping up discounted crude that Western sanctions shunned. Russian oil jumped to 35% of India's imports by 2025, saving billions while fueling refineries from Reliance to state giants. But the US fumed. President Trump slapped 50% tariffs on India, including a punitive 25% hit tied directly to those Russian barrels, demanding New Delhi pick a side. Indian refiners got weekly reporting orders on Russian versus US buys, signaling the squeeze as imports dipped below 1.2 million barrels per day late last year. PM Modi resisted publicly, citing energy security for 1.4 billion people. But the math was brutal. Cheap Russian oil kept inflation low, yet alienated Washington's trade hawks. The Bombshell deal details. Enter the Trump-Modi hotline on Monday, described as very productive. Leavitt spilled, India pledges no longer purchasing Russian oil, pivoting to American energy, with a side note to Venezuelan crude now under US influence. Tariffs slashed from 50% to 18% for Indian goods into the US, while America gets zero tariff access to India's massive market. The crown jewel? Modi's commitment to $500 billion in US investments and purchases across energy, transportation, agriculture, even coal, under a bold Buy American mantra straight from Trump's Truth Social post. Modi hailed it as a win for Made in India, thanking Trump for the tariff cut that boosts exports for India's 1.4 billion citizens. This isn't a memo. It's a mega deal reshaping $200 billion plus in bilateral trade. The White House is ecstatic. Leavitt called it another great trade deal thanks to President Trump, a boon for US workers, businesses, and consumers. Trump boasted on social media about their Get Things Done vibe, positioning it as a stronger US-India bond for global stability. Modi echoed the warmth, pledging unprecedented partnership and backing Trump's peace push. But skeptics abound. Russia flatly denies India promised a full stop, noting recent cuts but no total halt. Moody's warns a sudden Russian cutoff could spike India's costs, fuel inflation, and crimp growth as the world's top oil importer. Analysts like Lisa Curtis flagged diplomatic fog. Modi didn't explicitly confirm the oil ban, leaving room for phased reductions. Indian media buzzes with pride over the tariff relief, but whispers of anger surface over perceived arm twisting, hitting Putin where it hurts. This deal punches Russia in the energy gut. India's exit as top buyer could slash Moscow's revenues by tens of billions, crippling Ukraine war funding. With EU, US sanctions tightening, Russian flows to India already cratered 40% from 2025 peaks. Enter Trump too, dictating Venezuelan oil flows ties into his America First playbook, potentially stabilizing US allies while sidelining rivals. For India, it's a high-wire act diversifying from Russia, reduces sanction risks, secures US tech, agri ties, but hikes oil bills short term. Globally, it signals the Quad US, India, Japan, Australia tightening against China Russia axis, boosting Indo Pacific security, oil markets. Expect volatility as India hunts US, Saudi, Iraqi barrels. Reliance already slashed Russian orders 13% last fall. Economic wins and risks for both sides. US farmers, drillers, and truckers rejoice. Zero tariffs mean Indian shelves stocked with American soy, LNG, and rigs. That $500 billion pledge, it dwarfs prior investments, fueling jobs in rust belts from Texas fields to Midwest farms. India scores big on exports, textiles, pharma, autos, flood US markets at 18% duties, not 50%. PM Modi's mutually beneficial spin highlights growth for two giants. US cuts its India trade deficit. India locks reliable energy. Sun sanctions drama. Risks loom. India's CPI could jump if Russian discounts vanish, hitting consumers amid 7% GDP growth. Phased implementation might ease pain, with refiners like Reliance ahead on diversification. Long term, a template for Trump's deal making, proving tariffs bend foes into friends. What's next? Watch these flashpoints. Eyes on implementation. Will Russian imports hit zero tomorrow or taper? Refiners report weekly. Kepler data will tell. Kremlin retaliation, deeper discounts or India-specific cuts could test resolve. Venezuela angle. Trump's team claims control over its sales, looping in US gains. Broader trade talks accelerate, targeting non-tariff barriers. For geopolitics, this cements Trump-Modi bromance. Expect joint Ukraine peace pushes, China counters. Markets react. Oil up slightly, rupee steady, Dow futures tick higher on export hopes. Broader global context. Zoom out. Energy weaponized since Ukraine war, with India as swing buyer tilting balances. US LNG exports boom, Russia's shadow fleet shrinks. This deal echoes Trump's first-term wins, pressuring allies without military boots. For multipolar world, India flexes, balancing Russia ties BRICS defense with US pivot for tech defense pacts like IC. China watches warily its oil from Russia unaffected, but US-India axis squeezes Belt Road dreams. This India-US pact isn't ink on paper, it's a seismic shift, starving adversaries, igniting economies, and forging futures. From Moscow's oil rigs to Wall Street floors, ripples spread. Stay tuned. Geopolitics just got spicier. What do you think, smart pivot or risky gamble? Drop comments below, like, subscribe for daily global breakdowns. Thanks for watching. See you next time.